Okay. Okay, so let's set the ball rolling, right? Genesis 1:27, 26 to 29. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. The floor is open. This is our third meeting on this text. Any issues, any questions, insights, what have you? Gabo. Pastor Gabo.
What's it called? Yeah, King James. In the King James, I remember the other day we were talking about, the King James makes um, verse 27. And so God created man in his own image.
Mhm.
In the image of God created he him, male and female, created he them. I remember we were talking about it and you said his, you were giving some about the his.
Mhm.
But just today I was reading the New King James,
Mhm.
and the New King James capitalized the his,
Mhm.
the H.
Mhm.
I don't know whether
Yeah.
but you don't usually like us to go to other places, but
No. But
I read the King James and I was wondering why they made the his capital H. And one thing I've noticed is that when the capital H is there, that means it's referring to either God or Christ. I mean, when it is a Lord, or
yeah, you are
for us
absolutely.
to know that the translation says. And
Mhm.
with what you guys have been doing the weekdays with Professor, how the Bible was written and the Nibi, I see the dynamic. So I think the his said last we were a little this year. I think the his there is God saying he won't let us create man in our image for the King James, for the New King James. I think if we could go to the Hebrew or the Greek from the original, I'm sure it would give us that connotation. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not disputing that.
Okay.
But
I just wanted to bring it to
yeah,
our
not
attention. Okay. The King James did not put it as capital H, but
yeah.
the New King James put it with the capital H. So I
Okay.
just wanted to bring it to our attention.
That is true. That is true. And that is okay. I mean, commendable on your part, right? But one of the things I also want us to do is a skill that, in fact, in, in law school, for example, if you are given a question, right, you are given a question and there is a clear, I mean, you are going to cite a case, right? If you are writing an exam, you are going to cite a case that actually happened, right? So you know the outcome of the case. But when they ask you the question, the fact that a judge sat on the case and a decision or a verdict was arrived at means there are things about the case that are not so clear. Are you getting me? So we have what we call inculpatory and exculpatory evidence. Inculpatory evidence literally nails the accused person. Exculpatory evidence could actually free the person, and both are part in the text. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, when you are given a question, you answer it from both the defense and the prosecution's angle, which means you look at all the issues there and you deal with them. Is that making sense? You don't just say, oh, it's clear, Kofi is guilty, and you just deal with the guilt involved. Is that making sense? Or you say, oh, Kwame is victorious, and you only deal with that. No, no, no. You deal with all the issues, and then you take a position. Is that making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, it enables you to see all the dimensions in the facts as given. You getting me? So when you bring the same idea into a test like this, where there is some ambiguity, and the reason it's important for me, as far as King James is concerned, right, is that it forces me to look at just not the most obvious facts or the most obvious angle, but also to look at the not so obvious. Is that making sense?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, you see clearly that the his, even with the King James, you will realize, in the New King James, you will realize that two reference, God and man, have been mentioned before the his, the pronoun, right? Do you get the point?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the fact that there is a pronoun, but there are two references, that takes you into an arena where you must actually discuss why you believe that that pronoun is referring to one and not the other. And with that, it means that you have to take that pronoun, take the first antecedent, like here, God, and then make sense of it, put forth an argument why that will be more conclusive or more meaningful given the rest of the text, right? And then take that also and apply it to the second antecedent and see if it also is meaningful, even if it is not as meaningful as the first one. At least now you have two sides. You've discussed the issues in that text and you've taken a position. So if down the line it so happens that you get additional text that actually confirm that the antecedent rather should be man and not God, you already have done your homework. Is that making sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a skill I want you to develop, right? Cultivate that spirit. Whenever you encounter a test, or even in life, where there could be ambiguities, where there could be unclear areas, to make sure you tackle all the sides of the case before you take a position. Is that making sense?
Mm-hmm.
It expands your horizon per that particular issue, and you become a better informed person. Is that okay?
Yeah,
So
that's
yes,
good. Mm-hmm.
I agree. And you remember the other time I said you are true. I mean, you are right. I think 2 weeks ago I told you are right, but I don't want you to jump at that one simply because it's so obvious. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt right? By treating the less obvious one before you take a decision. That means you've looked at all sides of the case and you've arrived at the most likely. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
Apply
okay.
that skill everywhere in reading any text because you may not know. Okay, so last week what we did was to take this same test and practicalize it. We use this test as what we call the source to look at the establishment of the Bank of Ghana. Do you remember?
Mhm.
And what we saw was that, structurally speaking, though on the surface, this may have nothing to do with the establishment of Ghana. And truly, yes. But if you go beneath the surface, you look at the structure that is holding this test together. And then you look at the structure that is holding the narrative about the establishment of Ghana, and you realize that there are parallels. And the first thing we did was to look at, okay, let's look at the characters involved, right? Here we have God setting up a system, right? And coming up with a way to manage the system. Is that okay? Is that making sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then you come to the government of Ghana. The government of Ghana is playing the same role as God here. The government of Ghana is setting up the Bank of Ghana. So you come back and you realize you have an actor here in the Bible, God. In the case of the Bank of Ghana, the government of Ghana. Then you go, what is the object? What is the object here? The actor God, what is he doing? He's establishing the earth, or he's created it, right? The government of Ghana has created the Bank of Ghana. Then you ask yourself, what is the goal? What is the goal? Okay, God has created the earth. He wants the earth to be managed, right? The government of Ghana wants the economic system to function properly. Therefore, he is creating the Bank of Ghana with a governor. Here in the Bible, God has created the earth. He wants it managed. He is creating man to manage it. Are you seeing how the structure, right? Then you ask, okay, God says, I want you man, I want you to have, according to verse 28, right? Or the other, he said, let them have dominion over the fish of the sea. Dominion, dominate, right? Authority plus responsibility, right? Plus a mandate. Have dominion over the fish of the sea. So the word dominion means that we are going to deal with some things there. We have an individual, we have a domain, and we have authority. The domain from the individual here is God and man, right? And God is saying to man, I'm giving you your domain. Your domain is the earth. Your domain is the earth, and that earth is made up of one sea or bodies of water. You are responsible for it. In the sea or bodies of water are the fishes. You are responsible for that. Are you getting the picture clear? So in the earth, we have the domain of waters and the domain of fishes. It says, and over the fowl of the air. On the earth, you have the air, the domain of the air, and you have fowl that operate in that domain. You are responsible for them, the fowls, and you are responsible for the air. You have authority. And he says, and over the cattle and over all the earth, right? Then you have land. The creatures that function on that land, cattle, right? And creeping things. So now you have land and you have the cattle and creeping things. You are responsible for them. They have their domain. You are responsible for them. And now God encompasses everything. You are responsible for all the earth. So every domain in the earth, you man are to manage it. Are you now getting the picture clear? Oh, let's go to the Bank of Ghana. There is the economy. You have the banking system. You have monetary policy, right? You have connection to external banks and institutions. You literally have to set the economic and the monetary and the financial policies for the country. The governor, right? You've been given the power to manage that domain, right? So you come to Ghana, you may have the agriculture sector, which is a domain. You have the social sector. But as far as monetary policy, right, the flow of money, the transactions of money, you, Bank of Ghana, headed by the governor, you are responsible for it. So again, you realize that though at the top of this text, on the surface of Genesis 1:26 to 29, there is nothing there to really make you think that you could get ideas to understand, that will help you to understand the Bank of Ghana and how it was established and how it functions. You realize that when you go to the base, the structure of what God did, it can act as a source. You can take ideas from there and then parallel the ideas in the establishment and the function and operations of the Bank of Ghana, which therefore means that you could actually also borrow ideas that happen, events and what have you, that happened in Genesis chapter 1:26, 29, and you can use it to predict what is likely to happen in the operations of the Bank of Ghana, because there is this understanding that human beings think in patterns. And therefore, the way the world works is that events follow a pattern. Is that making sense? And that means that two events that are similar, right, are also likely to have actions or events that are similar. So if narrative 1 is similar to narrative 2, you can look at the events that happen in event 1, right, or narrative 1, and project that it will happen in narrative 2, such that even if narrative 2 doesn't mention the event, you can pretty much follow the idea that it is likely to be there, although it's not been explicitly mentioned. But you know that event 1 and event 2 have similar structures. And therefore, the events in those two domains or two narratives are also likely to be similar. So the source, in this case, the Bible, Genesis 1, 26 to 29, whatever happens there, we can actually take them and then expand them and see the same thing happening or similar things happening in the establishment and the operations of the Bank of Ghana, because they have similar structures. Is that making sense? And this is where the power of any narrative actually emerges. It's not just you are reading, but now you are borrowing ideas from one domain to another domain, which may not even have any surface similarities at all. But because of the structural parallels, you can use one, what we call the source, right, to help you understand what is likely to happen in the target. And Jesus was a master at creating such narratives. All the parables, absolutely all the parables follow, because you realize that you will encounter in this life new situations, right? And it seems like you don't know how to literally navigate your way. You may not know how to forge ahead. The way to really get some ideas to help you start moving is to look at if there is any target, any source or parallel situation that you are aware of. And look at if that situation has structural similarities with the new situation you find yourself. How do you do that? Again, you first look at the actors involved in the situation you are familiar with, right? You look at the actions involved. You look at the location involved. You look at what we call the constraints, the problems you encounter, the forces that come at you in the story that you are familiar with, right? And then you plot them in the new situation, Gabo, that you have. And before you realize, you are actually making sense of the new situation. Why? Because we have come to realize that life itself follows patterns. In history, we say history repeats itself. I'm sure you've heard about that. You've heard that statement before, right? History repeats itself. It simply means that patterns follow themselves. And that's one way we learn. That is why you don't worry whether the sun will come up tomorrow or not. You know that the sun has always come up, right? And therefore you go to bed knowing that the sun will come up tomorrow because you've seen the pattern. Is that making sense? It is that same idea. We call it narrative analogy, right? Narrative analogy. It helps you to really make sense of new situations by always looking at an old situation you are familiar with and looking at whether the structure of the old situation parallels the structure of the new situation. Is that making sense? And that is, as I said, how we can practicalize this word of God, powerful as it is. Amen. Okay. Now today, we started something last week, right? And we want to look at it again, right? The Bible, God says in Genesis 28, and God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful. That is what we have to discuss. What does it mean to be fruitful?
It means a lot. One, productive, be very productive.
Expand on it.
Fruitful means productive. Productive meaning bringing out good out of what you have. You product. Fruitful. Every like as your analogy, every fruit or came out of a seed. So being fruitful is you have to be productive. Whatever you have to increase it, you have to produce it, you have to expand it, you have to make it become fruitful. You have to expand it. I mean, replicate it. You have to bring a,
and you have to grow it.
you have to grow it. I mean,
Okay.
fruitful,
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want you to break it down. What, in the first place, again, the word fruitful makes it an adjective, right? So we want to look at the noun, fruit, because that's the root word, right? Fruit. So the first question is, what is the role of the fruit to the plant? That's how we'll borrow ideas. Can you check? Check your dictionaries.
Yeah, the dictionary says fruitful definition, producing good results,
Okay.
beneficial, profitable.
Okay. But I
That's
want
what,
to actually don't go to Google or anywhere and type what is the role of the fruit to the tree.
What is the role? What is the? You say, why do fruit trees grow fruits? Understanding the role of fruits,
Okay?
discovering the purpose of fruit in a plant. Is that okay? Or
Yeah,
which one do I read?
yeah, read. We want to learn.
The purpose of a tree, a fruit. It says trees produce fruit to protect seeds and assist in their dispersal, ensuring successful reproduction and survival.
Oh, lovely. So let's take these ideas one by one. It says the fruit protects the seed, right? Is that what it said?
Mhm.
Oh, so isn't it amazing? Do you realize that the fruit tends to be sweet?
Mhm.
So why would the tree? So what is the seed to the tree?
It says protects it, so it's a protection.
What is the role of the seed to the tree? Don't forget, every seed is a clone of the tree. Are you understanding that?
Mhm.
Look here. Every seed of the tree, if you take an apple and you have 100 seeds in it, each of those seeds is the mother tree out of which from which that fruit came. So that single tree that birthed the fruit you are eating, the apple fruit you are eating, right, has given you the tree itself 100 times in that fruit. If you have 100 seeds in that fruit, right? So the question I'm asking, the fruit tends to be sweet, right? And living creatures tend to like sweet things. Are you getting the picture clear? And fruits are not supposed to be poisonous. Most fruits are edible, right? And not only edible to fill your tummy, they are also sweet, right? And give joy to your tongue. The question I'm asking is, if the sweetness of the fruit is likely to attract eaters, and the tree would like to protect itself, right? Why would the tree, which is represented in the seed, why would the tree keep the seed in the seed? Are you getting the question I'm asking?
Mhm.
And these are ideas we want to mine. Why? Because if you eat the seed, most likely you've eaten the tree that birthed the fruit, which has the seed. Is that making sense?
Mhm.
So why would the tree put its life in the fruit, knowing very well that the sweetness of the fruit will attract consumers? And this is the understanding we want to get. that every tree by its design is fixed in a location. It cannot move. Are you getting the picture clear? Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But every tree also wants to be in as many places as possible. Is that also true?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, the means by which the fixed tree can accomplish its goal of reproducing itself in as many places as possible is to incentivize some other creature or some other thing to take that seed and place it in some other location on behalf of the tree. So that when you buy that apple fruit from the supermarket to your house and you eat it and you drop a seed in the soil behind your house, you've given that seed space, soil, and what have you to grow. And when it grows, it is the fixed parent tree that has found itself in another place without itself having to move. Are you getting the principle involved?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now God says to you, be fruitful. What has he told you?
As you are saying, to produce the same thing,
You
produce
must,
produce your same self, and that
yes,
is you are producing God.
yes. And
Mm.
how do you do that?
By giving birth.
That's not the only thing. Look at the tree. How did tree number one become four, one behind your house? How did it do it when you bought the apples? How did the parent tree, the mother tree of that apple fruit you bought, how did it get the seed in now behind your backyard as an apple tree? How did it do it?
By somebody taking the fruit, eating the fruit.
So you took the fruit. Why
Mhm.
did you buy the fruit? It's tasty, right? It's nutritious, right?
Mhm.
But part of it, the seed, the tree hid a seed.
And
So,
you can also plant the seeds after you finish enjoying the fruit.
I mean, whether you plant it or you drop it, the parent tree, right, has accomplished its goal. Whether you plant it or whether you drop the seed,
So
wherever
it's our responsibility to plant it so that it will germinate more fruit.
yes, but beyond just planting, I want you to get how the tree did it and look at how you can gather ideas or generate ideas to help you also become more than yourself in as many places as possible without you having to live where you are. That is what I want you. How do you reproduce yourself in as many places as possible whilst you are in the same place? You are fixed in the same place. Gabo, are you getting where this thing, the depth involved in this? The tree by its design is fixed, it cannot move. But the tree has the aspiration, the goal, the ambition, the motivation to be in as multiple places as possible at the same time, if need be. But by its design, it is fixed. It cannot move. How then can it overcome that, call it constraint, right? How can it still accomplish its goal of being in multiple places at the same time without ever having to move? Because it doesn't have the ability to move. Therefore, the question is, Gabo, how can you accomplish your goals even in the face of the odds that constrain you and you don't have the ability to do anything about that constraint? That is what God is trying to tell us. I can't hear you. Are we getting the picture clear?
Mm-hmm.
How? Give me a minute. Testing. How can I accomplish my goal when the odds against me are insurmountable? How do I still accomplish my goal? That is the secret of the tree, and that is what God is asking us to study. So the choice of the word fruit is not just a word. It is a whole system, right? It's a whole system with processes and procedures. And you can take that. Don't forget, God has told man, your domain, one of your domains, because he said, have dominion over what? The fish of the sea. So you must have dominion over the sea. You must have dominion over the fish that dwell in the sea. So you have, in that dominion over the fish of the sea, you have two mandates: the sea itself and the fish that dwell in it. How do you extend the idea of fruitfulness into your mandate to dominate the fish of the sea? Take that that idea of fruitfulness and show me, explain how it applies to you, right? Having dominion over this fish of the sea. Any ideas? Mr. Quinley, any ideas? Gabo?
Yeah, it's too. My mind cannot comprehend. It's too. Now, before I'm trying to figure it out. What you are saying is too much for my thinking. My thinking cannot expand there's too much. I'm thinking it's too much for me.
But
Seriously,
that
I'm
means you
being.
haven't even considered
Mhm,
things this way before,
So
right?
it's too much for me.
No, it's
I have
not.
to go and research. I have to research. I mean, because what you are saying, I'm trying to get all, and it's too much for my mind. I'm being realistic. I'm being truthful.
Oh yeah, I understand. And I am literally starting a fire under you. I don't want you to feel comfortable. You see, again, we've read this Bible and then we go. No, let's put it this way. I'm not blaming any pastor. I'm not blaming any teacher. Unfortunately, they only taught us what they knew. Is that true?
Mhm.
Right? But God this time wants to use Auntie Amaka Bisaban to force new thinking. And that's why we are going to spend some time. These words are pregnant words, right? We were not taught that when God said you have dominion over the fish of the sea, the word dominion is pregnant, right? The domain is more than just the sea or the fish. You must understand and master and dominate the sea. You must master, understand the fish and dominate the fish. And then the combination of the sea and the fish together, how they get things done, you must master it. Once you do that, Gabo, what God is saying, because if you go there, when the next thing it says, replenish the earth, right? The replenish means to make something full once more. It means, do you by the way know that they are saying that the coastal waters of Ghana have been overfished? Are you following? They say the coastal waters of Ghana have been overfished. So literally, there are no fishes in our waters. What does that mean? Does it mean we are going to, now we have to start importing fish? But that's what it looks like, right? Right?
We have to find a way to.
God said, replenish, and therefore you have to go back again. How does the tree reproduce itself? How do I get fish to reproduce more? That is a domain for you. So when you take the words by themselves, fruitfulness and replenishment, look at their combination and what possibilities are made available.
Fruitfulness
God
and
wasn't just
multiply. Fruitfulness multiply before the replenish.
Yeah, you realize that the words feed on themselves. Multiplying is taking the same group number and adding it in the same quantity over and over and over again. Multiplication is nothing more than addition plus addition. God is saying, if I give you 4, right? Don't give me 5. You have to give me 8. That's multiply. I'm excited. No, you see, the Bible says, Solomon will say in Proverbs, it is the duty of kings to hide a matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the duty of his subject to find that matter out. Kings, they say dark things. You must be able to take that dark thing and bring it to light or shine the light on it. That's what we are doing. God just told us multiply or fruitfulness. What did he mean? We have always limited it to that, oh, maybe give birth. No. There is, yeah, it is giving birth, but what is involved? Why didn't he use any other word but fruitfulness? So even the choice, in literature we call it the diction, the choice of words, right, is instructive. And when God said multiply, he added to the fruitfulness. He's saying, you know, Gabo, when I give you the number 4, I give you 4 things. Don't come to me and give me 5 and think you've done something, because I started you with 4 and you've added 1. You haven't multiplied. Because the concept of multiplication is that you take the number of groups, right? And you add number to itself. So if the first group is 4 and you add 4 to itself, what should you get?
8.
Thank you. So if you get 5, do you think in God's scheme you've increased? That's what we are now. That's what we are on to. Gabo, look at me in the face. God is saying, if I start you on the salary of 50,000, don't come to me and tell me you've prospered, because now you are making 60,000. You haven't multiplied.
Mm. We haven't done well.
You haven't multiplied.
Mm.
And the question is, did he give you the ability? Yes. Yes, because when you multiply, the first number, when you multiply by itself, you must add the same number to itself. That number starts with 2. So 2, if God gives you 4 and you multiply it, you should multiply by 2. You get what?
8.
So again, if he starts you with 40 or $50,000 and you're making 60,000 and you think you've arrived, God is not impressed at all, because you haven't multiplied.
Mm. Mm.
He didn't stop there. He said, replenish the earth, right? Gabo. He said,
subdue it and have dominion.
be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. We are going to take these words one by one. What does it mean to replenish? Replenish actually suggests that something is empty or something is not where it should be in terms of its size. So if God starts you with 4 and you find yourself with 1, right? God is saying you have the responsibility to bring it back to 4.
Replenish, to fill something up again. Refill. Fill up. Recharge.
So what has God told you? God has actually told you that there will be times things will go down. So when you face shortage, Gabo, it is not the devil after you necessarily. It is the nature of things.
For you
But
to
God is saying he's giving you the mandate to bring it back to where it was.
to refill it.
To refill it. And you don't need prayers for that. He has already given you that mandate.
Mm. Mm. Lord Jesus, help us. Help us. We haven't worked hard. I haven't worked hard enough. If
You
this
know
is the
why?
principle.
Because we've not been challenged. You see, Gabo, I'll tell you a secret. The more you probe into things, or let me give you the example. You and I went to school. Do you realize that each time you went back to read the same text, you get new meaning?
Yeah.
So you know what exactly is happening. Each text has more meaning than it gives.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
each
always say
time
that.
so the more attention you pay to your book, the more it reveals itself to you.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Why do you think some nations are developed? They do research. Research is nothing but looking at the things hidden in that thing and probing to bring it out. That's what research is. What are the possibilities?
Mm.
Now, look me straight in the eye. Gabo, God has spoken and he has said this. Did he ask you to pray for those things?
No.
So if the Chinese who doesn't believe in God, but works out the principles in this, who has respected or who has obeyed God more?
The
You.
Chinese.
And who is likely, therefore, to receive God's blessings?
Mm.
Because don't forget, verse 28, read the first thing God says in verse 28.
And God bless them.
Let's stop there. So, if the Chinese man works out what God has said, the rest, who will receive the blessing?
The Chinese man.
Meanwhile, you, the Christian, you profess Christ. You are praying instead of living and acting out what God has instructed you. Who do you think will be doing the will of God?
Mm.
I'm not saying prayer is not good. I'm just challenging us to go back to the text. I'm not saying fasting is not good. But the Bible said it is more what? To obey than to what?
To sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
So you will be sacrificing prayer, you will be sacrificing fasting and everything given to God, but you are not obeying Him. Who is going to receive the blessing?
The obedient one.
Thank you. This is what Christianity needs to get right. Some people are obeying the word of God, the instructions of God. Although they claim they don't believe in that God, they are obeying Him. And those of us who profess to be Christians, who do all the spiritual dynamics, but we are not doing what is mandated, between you and the Chinese, who is obedient? This is what is on the table for us. This is what is at stake. I can feel the Spirit of God in me as I'm speaking. God is saying, it's about time we do what is asked. When we obey Him, the blessing flows to us naturally. We don't have to pray. We don't have to do any spiritual gymnastics, because He has already put it there. He blessed. He first blessed too. And then He said, be fruitful. So whoever lives out the fruitfulness will receive the blessing than the person who doesn't live out instructions.
So He blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful.
Yes.
So
They
the
didn't,
fruitfulness
don't forget
and
that.
the fruitfulness and the multiplying comes with the blessing. Without that, you cannot be blessed.
Yes. So all that the text is saying, you are equipped for anything and everything God is asking you to do. You are already equipped.
And God blessed them and said unto them. So
So look at it carefully. Look at it this way. He blessed you before He asked you to do. He blessed you before He asked you to do. So He paid you. If you don't do what is asked for you to do, you have to return His money or His blessing. He blessed you. It's like God gave you your salary before He asked you to work for it. So if you don't do the work, then you must return the salary.
You will not even get a salary. I think that's how I'm seeing it.
Look at it. He said He blessed. Take the blessing to mean that He paid you. He paid you before He asked you to work. So if you have received the salary, but you don't do the work, do you think it will be right for you to keep the salary?
No, but from what you are saying, I'm understanding it that the blessing comes with a multiplier. If you don't multiply, you won't get the blessing.
Look at the way He put it. He blessed them first, and then He asked them to act.
Yeah, but when you started speaking the revelation, I got it that way that the blessing is tied to the fruitfulness. So if you are not fruitful, you cannot get the blessing for you to pay it back.
No, you already have the blessing. It's like the salary, because He blessed them before He asked them to act. Being fruitful is an action. Multiplying is an action. Having dominion is an action. But He paid you ahead. before he asks you to work. You ask me, how did he bless me? Have you ever paid for the air you breathe?
No.
Can you pay him for that?
No.
If air is being bottled and sold, would you be able, would you get it for free?
No.
So he's giving you blessing, you have the blessing. Your brain, that brain, did you put it in your head yourself?
No. So he blessed. So where does the repaying come back?
He said, be fruitful.
Yeah, so when I'm trying to get the revelation for the repaying. If we are using air, do you pay the air? If you don't
It's
work,
part of the blessing, right? It's part of the blessing. Because at the end of the day, dead people, they don't know what blessing is. The dead people, they don't need the air, but you do because you are alive. So that blessing, that free air is part of the the salary he paid you advance. The salary he paid you in advance, the air you breathe is part of it. He makes sure that you eat. Can you buy water? Has anybody been able to make water? It's free. Now, the sun. Have you ever paid for the sun?
For the vitamin D, no.
Yeah. He blessed you. He blessed you. And with the blessing, he said, now, I have paid you ahead. I have paid you in advance. Now, do this for me. If you don't do it, would it be right to keep the blessing? So when he comes and he starts taking away the things from you, and then you will attribute it to the devil. But you won't see yourself as actually being the one undermining yourself. Because you've taken the salary. He paid you the first day you started work. Before you started. And he said, now do the work. And you are not doing it. Do you owe him? If you were a landlord and you give that house to that tenant and he starts occupying it before he or she pays, if that person doesn't pay you at the end of the month, do you have the right to kick that person out? Would that person owe you for living in that house? Can you take the person to court?
Yep.
So can God take you to court by giving you your salary in advance if you don't do the work he asks you to do? This is our challenge. This is what the Spirit of God is telling me. And it has to be brought to it. He has equipped us. God will say in Proverbs chapter 6, 6-8, go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise. So, if you want to learn wisdom, go and learn. He said, be fruitful. Go and look at the tree and learn the secret of the tree, why it puts its seed in the fruit. And then you repackage it and ask yourself, how can I also put my seed in the fruit to attract somebody to take my seed by eating the fruit and then planting my seed somewhere else, and I will be known there without me having to leave my house. How do you repackage that idea? What sort of mind, what sort of habits of mind must you cultivate to come up with this sort of ideas? How come Elon Musk is now a trillionaire in the same world where some people don't have a dime to their name? How come? Elon Musk is not more blessed than anybody. Perhaps he is doing what God has asked him to do, or has asked all of us to do, and we are not doing, and he is doing it. He claims to be an atheist who is really obeying God. Amen.
Amen. So we're going to come up with things we're going to do to be fruitful, multiply, so that we can get the blessing.